Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't say this often enough, but welcome. Welcome. I say in my description. Sorry about that. I try to write stuff in my description every single day about, I used to make these long dissertations and I'm like, nobody's reading these. So I cut back on the dissertations and I tried to write a little bit of a message about maybe what I did, what I'm feeling, the whole shebang. And I have to say, I don't, hold on a second. Let me try to put this all back together. I know what it is about this journal, but I have had the best, did I say the best? The best time in this journal. So much so that I was up till midnight. I made prompt lists for myself for 3 other monthly long journals. I may have come up with idea journal number 17. It just keeps changing. I did not sleep until after midnight last night, and I kept thinking, okay, what about this? And I came up with some slightly political prompt lists, like anti-gun, that version of a political spectrum. I won't even go down the other blaring in your face other political spectrum that's happening in the United States. But because it is so strongly felt by me that what is happening is wrong. And I can't say that on social media politely. One reason I can't say it this is not where I mean to go. Okay, so anyhow, I came up with some more prompt lists. And I don't consider anti-gun political. It's like pro-life. It's pro-life. Again, I'm not going there. So anyhow, I've had a tumultuous 12 hours. Because my brain would not cut off. And I think this is the culprit. Because this and YouTube University, this is such a simple prompt list. And, well, no, it's not simple at all, but it's very deceiving. For me, I felt like this simple prompt list, labels, wildlife, shine. Those are just simple words, but they can evoke such strong pathways to get to where you want to go that lead to other things. And to me, that's the reason why. That is probably the highest percentage of the reason why I do this. There's a close second percentage, which is all of you. And I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it for the camaraderie and the conversation and the friendships and things that I have made over 7-ish years of doing this, which is insane because you're not supposed to make a video every day. Surely you're not supposed to make a video in art every day. Surely you would have more subscribers by now. Surely. None of that. Surely none of those are my goals. My goal is friendship. My goal is conversations. My goal is this is therapy. And if I'm not having fun every single day doing this, my therapist didn't show up. My therapist comes in the form of color and texture and paper and a glue stick and a pair of scissors and a ruler to tear things with. That is the whole reason. That is the majority of the reason why I do this. Close second, in 9.995, if we're talking Olympics here, this close second is the camaraderie, the friendship, conversations. I mean, nobody should know anything about my dog because he's psycho. Kind of like maybe his mom. He has a good heart somewhere in there. Mine is a little bit more on the surface. His is way under a lot of fur. But when he's ready for you to separate that fur and get to his heart, he's all in. He's all in for everything. But he does go from calm to combat immediately. And there is something about that dog. But nobody should know about my dog. But there's people on this website that talk to my dog every day. I mean, and he says hello back. It is just, social media can be so bad, but it can be so good. And if you use it for good, it's the greatest. This lady lives somewhere else, I think in Europe someplace. Could be wrong, maybe Australia. She has an accent, I think. I think she's overseas. Don't ask me, I don't know. But this is at Meg's Journals, who does Junk Journal July and Junk Journal January. I've done them a couple times. I can't remember if I've done it all the way through. I try to complete a project all the way. And I usually have a month-long narrative that I follow. For whatever reason, I'm confined to 30, 31 days, sometimes 28. But this has been a blast. There's no other way to say it. It has been a blast. I chose to go crazy a little bit because sometimes a prompt list isn't enough to trigger my brain. I've learned a lot about my brain this month, which is quite scary. I need more than a prompt list. I have to add another element to it. Sometimes I add 2 more elements to a prompt list that I made up. I mean, I don't know why that I do that, but that makes me even happier. So I chose to do this Junk Journal July using Meg's Journals prompts in the perspective of Van Gogh, because all of that started coming together at the right time. My love of Van Gogh means I have a few things of Van Gogh, and an acquired Lego set at the very end of June said, okay, this is screaming to you. You must do Junk Journal July. And not only that, but you must do it in the perspective of it coming from Vincent Van Gogh. So I did, because, you know, some people do morning pages. These are my morning pages. You know what? That's exactly what it is. It is my morning pages. I am subconsciously writing down, it's cold outside. There's the blue. I want an avocado and toast this morning. I might get in the water and swim today, which there's green moss at the bottom of the lake. So, I mean, all of this is like my morning pages, thinking, and I used to have that book. I gave it to somebody else in my old art group. And there's been a lot of sheltering in place for me before COVID because of the political situation in the United States. And this has saved my sanity. These journal pages every day, ignoring what's happening, ignoring people's horrible statements, ignoring all that, because I am on YouTube a lot, digging in the trenches for art. And sometimes things come across. And God almighty, those stupid algorithms, you know, once you look at one of those things, boom, 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 boom. Here's 17 other negative things you can think about. So this has been fabulous. And I'm on the last prompt because I'm working ahead, because I'm getting ready to go out of town, to Europe, to England. No, I'm not going to see Taylor Swift. Although my husband's associates' kids are going to see Taylor Swift in Paris. Don't envy them at all. But we did get ice. In all seriousness, we had already talked about the advanced numbers of COVID. So I called our pharmacy and I said, you know, I've had 3 boosters. My husband's had 4. And we both have had it in January of 2021. Thanks to the physical therapy rehab place I was going to for my shattered ankle. I fully believe that, because they didn't believe it was real. They had to wear masks in case they were inspected because that was happening, and they didn't believe it was real. And I wore a mask, of course, but we had to, but I didn't go to the above and beyond stage of hand sanitizer after every piece of equipment. And I think I was the only person in there that believed that COVID was real. And I heard several people quite casually say, oh, I think I've had it, but I don't care. I'm fine. I mean, we had 2 people in our family die from it who did not believe it was real either. I don't know why. So this has been my morning pages that have saved me from therapy many hours a day. And I probably spent more on supplies than a therapist, but that's okay. That's okay. So all of this diatribe of babble here to say thank you, Meg's Journals. This was great. This was fun. This was inspiring. This led to so many other projects in my head. I have to write them down on my phone in the middle of the night because I don't remember them in the morning. And it's been fantastic. And I think Vincent showed up. So we're going to do a final flip through. The cover is a picture out of the book that I used. And I did write the date and what the project was from the perspective of Vincent van Gogh. It sparked me to make my own color palette from, not mine, his postcard he sent us. Fold, which I did watercolor on Tomoe River paper, which is almost the most luscious thing you can do. Labels, what was this called? Lettering, my buddy Vinny, on the thought process of James Burke, who did these letters and followed the follow-through of Taylor Swift, because, you can't go anywhere right now without Taylor Swift showing up. Wildlife, Van Gogh bird's window. And when Van Gogh looked out his window, this is what he saw. And all of this is a lot of handmade papers from me, pictures cut out of a book, Neocolor 2s, Stabilo Woodies, tempera paint sticks, markers, a great glue stick, and occasionally water. It was just fabulous. This was observed. He observed himself and made a self-portrait. Scraps, what was laying on my desk that day. This is a centerfold that was paper that I just couldn't cover up, so I just wrote Vincent van Gogh on it and went on by. This is one of my favorites too. This was thread, and this was deli paper that I had put yarn in because Kurti, who is the oldest person on my channel, not the oldest in numbers, but the longest person here, who's out of internet space right now. But she showed me this video, and I'm like, oh, that would be fun to do. And so I tried it, and I kept the paper. I never did anything with it. In fact, it was in my Halloween stack because that's black thread. And then I pulled it out to use it, and I wiped, dry washed some color on here of Van Gogh colors, put it over another piece of paper that I had printed on, what is that thing? Patreon, and some more scraps, and just the layer of all of it just makes my heart sing. Stamp, a food wrapper, and then I also, before it started, made a prompt list, a brainstorming list to go with the prompts, which I had forgotten to use. But a lot of them, I came up with the same things. Now, the tea dyed, I said I was going to draw a teacup. That would have been fabulous, but I forgot to look back there. So, here's the other side of the accordion. Lights. Oh, this is weather. Had a dog interruption. All right, this is weather, which I chose a foggy morning. And this was homemade, and this is a painting by Vincent van Gogh, but she made her own craft beer. And this kind of flops around funny in the back here, so I have to be careful. Petal, which I made some silver jewelry Oh, that was just so much fun. This is vintage, I think. Whoops. You'd think I'd have these memorized by now. Aged. I used some aged maps and some aged travel guides. This was free. This was the best one. This had the most imagination. He freed his ear. And I did it all on this page. This was a painting he did. I wrote free underneath. But then I realized I had skipped a page. So I just replicated the colors in this painting in order, the way they fell down the paper. That was fun. This was tag. And I don't have a lot of tags. So I just took 3 towns that he's lived, 3 things about Van Gogh. A town that he lived in, a town where he was born, and his last name. And then kind of just worked with it. Nah, it's okay. This was, what was this? Oh, picture. There's a picture of a canvas, like the cloth of a canvas, and then his picture. So that's just what I went with. Timeline. His timeline, the book has a timeline in the very beginning of his life, because the book that I've been using is his life represented in places and maps. And the top, it had all the different places he's lived in his 37 years. So I just did a timeline of myself. This was tip in. Oh yeah, tip in. So I did a tip in and a tip in. Tip in. So then we went to ephemeral, which his clouds are like an ephemeral reaction to scenery for him, maybe. So I just made some ephemeral clouds in his fashion. This was tea-dyed. Yeah, tea-dyed. And I just went and got a bunch of the antique pictures out of the book. And I like that one. Just a simple collage. This one was the most wild one that I've done. And it was for shade. And I just shaded some Dina Wakley circles from a paper pad of hers. And then I shaded them myself with some scraps that I've had. And added blue and green chalk marker. And just kept shading everything. And adding shade. Interesting. Then this was poetry. And I had to add some paper because I was not going to have enough room for all 31. So I added this paper. And I think I added this paper. Yeah, I did. And I wrote words that rhymed with go, Van Gogh. But then I'm like, let's make a poem. So I took the words and I arranged them in a poem. Woe, Van Gogh, round in the snow with his hoe. H-O-E, garden tool, hoe. Silly, but it worked. This one was buttons, and I had little pieces of art. Some that I had done, some that were reflections from a pool, some were his. And I just made buttons out of them and collaged the background. This was contrast. This I don't like. This was not easy, but it's done. This was shine. The shine on the saying. You know? If you know, you know. All right. So today we are doing celebrate. Celebrating, we are done. So I saw somebody else do this on YouTube University, and I am going to do it also. It's not an original idea. I don't remember who did it. I think I was like tracking different people, and I, one led to another and another, and I lost track of where I was. She did it with an X-Acto knife, which I have, but I don't have a mat readily available. I don't think. No. So we're just going to do it with scissors. This isn't the best way to do it, but it's going to work. So I painted this background on Procreate with Van Gogh colors. Oh shoot, I've already done it wrong. Surprise, surprise. Okay. I might have to go fast forward here. I think it's going to work. So I continue to cut this, and it's not perfect, but I think I'm getting my point across. The prompt, remember, is celebrate. And I saw somebody do this on an art video that I don't remember who it was exactly, because it was a link from a link from a link from another link. And I, of course, have not practiced it at all and decided to do it for the first time in front of a camera. So it's not perfect, but it gets my point across. Like I said, we're celebrating how fantastic, I'm celebrating how fantastic I thought this project was in so many different ways, as I have previously babbled on about. In reality, the underside should have been decorated also, but alas, I didn't do that part. This is just the best way I can express myself on how I loved this project this month, and by celebrating the project completely, in the words of Vincent van Gogh, I spelled out wow. And I think this is so much fun. This will be something I try to do again, perhaps a little bit more successful, because the white side of the letters should have been color. But in all reality, it looks okay in the colors of Van Gogh. So with what I have here, this was so much fun. So thank you, Meg's Journal. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you when I get back from vacation. Bye.